The other day, I was thinking about this feeling of disorientation, like when things are falling apart and it feels like the world is unraveling. And you said something really interesting that stuck with me, and I'd really like to explore that more.
Yeah, so the idea of that sometimes it's when things fall apart and just turn to muck, that those are the moments that allow for new things to emerge. So the feeling of disorientation and grief over what has come undone, if we stay with that feeling and don't run away from it, but just recognize the reality of that and leave our hearts open, sometimes from that broken place, new life, new things, new ideas can start to take shape. Things that maybe you hadn't thought of before because the structure, everything was going as you thought it should.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only in the breaking down and in the unraveling that it gives your mind and your heart time to see some openness there. And so whether that's personally or in the world, sometimes when structures or things we're used to fall away, it's then that we can have some space to feel some creativity maybe, or some imagination maybe, or allow some things to flourish that really would not have been possible without some open space to do so.
It's kind of like where there's cracks in the rocks that
Yeah.
flowers can grow through them and towards the light. And that is where new life can begin to form.
And that's so true. So often life really does find a way to push through cracks and to find new ways to flourish. And this is oftentimes in experiences of personal crises, maybe grief or loss of some kind. People somehow sometimes emerge through that difficulty even stronger. Sometimes communities, after there's been a crisis, a community can come together in such creative and bonding ways. Sometimes, like when there are injustices, movements can rise up, working for equality from those difficult times. Yeah. And here's the thing, it's not to say these hard things are okay, and it's not to minimize the very difficult moments of grief and hardships that we endure in life. But it is to say that we can acknowledge the human resilience. And so there is this chance that we can find something new when there has been this breaking down of what was before.
Yeah, that is so true, Mom. And I think we have to remind ourselves to not let ourselves go numb to the feelings of things breaking down, that grief or the uncertainty is a normal thing to experience. Yeah. And it is the sign that something is changing. And it's a normal human reaction to feel scared about that. But allowing ourselves to acknowledge, yes, this is hard and I don't know what's going to come. I don't feel very certain right now. But that is where transformation can actually start to take shape. So it's important to stay awake and not try to sleep through these changes and these transformations.
And it's important to note too that in that staying awake to what the reality that's happening, it can feel so uncomfortable. Allowing new things to emerge and the status quo is gone, and something new has not yet come. So this can feel very, very uncomfortable and disorienting. Like you said, stay open that something new can come from this. It can be a bit of hope.
So in this time of deep change, when you think about new things starting to emerge, I think we need to remind ourselves that it's okay to not have all the answers.
Yeah.
Like I myself, a lot of times, I want to know what's coming. I want to know what I can do. I very much kind of want control over what's going to happen. Yeah. And I think reminding yourself that it's okay to not know what's coming. Yeah. But what we can do is focus on taking care of ourselves and nourishing ourselves just as we would take care of a friend.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's where, to make sure you're staying connected, and community is really important here, staying connected with people who care about you, stay connected with things that matter to you. Locally, it could be something very small. Staying connected and staying involved, it helps this newness start to emerge, because you're allowing yourself to take in the ideas of others. You're allowing yourself to stay involved with things that really mean something to you. So I do think it's perfectly okay to not know. As a matter of fact, so often when new things start to take shape in our lives, it's in ways that we really could not have seen coming anyway.
True.
So you would not have known exactly what's on the horizon. You would not have known how this is going to flourish in new ways.
Absolutely. And I think being in a company of others can be more grounding, because we're not walking this world alone. And whatever feels awful and breaking down, to let other people in on that, or sometimes it's a communal breaking down, that you're not alone on this earth, even when it feels like it. So in moments of hardship, I've noticed that just knowing you're not alone in it can make such a difference.
That's right. That's right.
So when we are in the middle of something breaking open, it's not easy, but it could be the stimulus for something better to come. And those emotions of grief over what's lost, feeling nervous, feeling overwhelmed, those emotions can coexist with a bit of hope and maybe even a bit of excitement about what is to come in the future. So viewers, I'm wondering, what do you notice breaking open in your own life or in the world around you? And what kind of newness are you hoping might grow there? Thank you so much for watching. My name is Michelle. This is my mom, Ashley. Thank you for joining us for our Secular Sunday. Please like and subscribe, and we will connect again with you soon.